Want to learn in how many ways you can join multiple strings, text, and numbers in Excel? Then this video is for you. Keep watching this video till the end. In this video, I'll be telling you about the text functions, concat and TextJoin, which were introduced in Excel 2016. If some of you are still working on the older version, then you can also watch this video, as I'll also cover concatenate function, which is available in all Excel versions. I will also share the information about the limitation these functions have that needs to be taken care of while using these functions. Hello everyone, I'm Vikram. Let's start today's topic, text functions. For this session, we will be using the data sheet, which is having details about employee names broken down into three different columns: title, first name, and last name. We'll cover three functions in this video: concatenate, concat, and TextJoin. Currently in year 2020, all these functions are available in Excel 2016 and all the later versions. These three functions will be used for joining strings with delimiter and by adding prefix and suffix text to a string. Conditional joining will also be taken up in this video, so stay tuned till the end. First function is concatenate. So if you can see in this Excel sheet, we have first name, last name, and title. So let's start joining these first of all. For concatenate, the function is concatenate, and let's see how it is done. We press equal to the column where cell where we want this formula to be populated, then concatenate. The moment you start the parenthesis, you will get the formula suggestion here. So the first argument is text here. So in our case, the first is title. So let me select this, then a comma, and then the first name, then another comma, and then we have the last name. So, and now we close the parenthesis and press enter. So you can see now this particular formula concatenate has joined the three test strings, that is title, first name, and last name. But in this case, if you can see, it has not added any delimiters, due to which there is no space between Mr. and Michael and Glenn. So how are we going to do that? So to add any delimiter here, concatenate is not giving us any feature for that. So what we have to do, we have to add space also as one of the argument. So if you can see in this formula, after A2, what I'll do, I'll just add a space. And how will I add a space is, as we have different arguments, so I'll start the comma and then uh, double quotes open, then we have a space and then double quotes closed. So space between double quotes will give this formula a character space that can be joined between the two arguments, that is argument in A2 and B2. Same we will add between B2 and C2. So after the comma, we'll click and then we'll add space between double quotes and then also add a comma there. And now when we press enter, so you can see that now a space is added between Mr. and Michael and Glenn. So this is how we want this to be shown. So this is how concatenate function works basically. So, but if we want to see it in another scenario where we also want a prefix or a suffix text added to it. So let me try for the suffix first of all. So we'll repeat the same formula here, equal to concatenate and parenthesis. Then this time, let me first add the full name as we did in the previous example. So I'll just add title, then I'll add a space, then I'll add first name, then comma, a space, then we'll add the last name. Then before closing the parenthesis, as we were discussing that we need to add a suffix text here. So let me add another argument. And this time it is a normal random text. So let me just add here a space, because space anyway we need to add after the C2 argument. And let me type is on to be leave. So this is any text that can be added here just to make it a full sentence. If you press enter, so before that I'll just close the parenthesis and then press enter. So see, now we get the full sentence. Mr. Michael Glenn is on 2-week leave. So if you want to learn more about the functions and formulas in Excel apart from these text functions, then you can click on the I button and watch the playlist on Excel functions and formulas. Now moving to the next function, that is concat. So now concat is more or less same like a concatenate function, but the only difference is that here for each and every value that needs to be concatenated needs to be added separately as a separate argument for concatenate. But in case of concat, we can add that as a range also. So in our case, for this particular example, let's say if we want to add any, we can have a range from A to C. But that way we will not be able to add the delimiters. So this may not be a very good example for using the concat function. So let me move to the another example or data which we have for concat function. So let's move to sheet 2. So in this case, if you see, we have data from some manufacturing organization where we have parts detail. So we have serial number of the part, then item code, batch number, and year. So what we will doing here is that just to get the part identification number, so we need to get all these values joined. So how are we going to do that? Here is um, enter equal to first of all, and then concat function, the parentheses, and this time we don't have to select each and every value as I told you. So we just need to give a range. So this way we are giving the range, and then you close the parenthesis, press enter, and this is the part identification number that you got, which is nothing but a join of all the values that you see here: the serial number, item code, batch number, and year. But see, we were not able to add the spaces. If you want to add the spaces in between that we did in the last example, so then concat will also work as a concatenate, because in that case you have to separately add and delimiter as one of the argument. So we can't give that as a range. So in this particular example, we can see the part identification number doesn't need any delimiter in between. So these kind of examples are suitable for concat, where we want to use the range. So now we can, just to get this value for all the rows. So we can come extreme right of this cell, lower right of the cell, and if you see there is a plus symbol shown, now you double click and the same thing will get populated for the same formula will get populated for all the rows. And now we have for all these 6 parts, we have the part identification number automatically created. Now, if you want to see another scenario that we just want to add some text also, prefixed or suffixed to this part identification number, so that can also be done in the concat function. How that is done, let's see. Add equal to, then concat, concat, and then start the parenthesis, and this time you just give this range once again, and as a second argument we'll just mention the text that needs to be added. So we'll give a space here first of all, then we'll say is sold on, let's say, 26th May 2019. So just a random text, so you can add any text here and you press enter and see this text got added to our part identification number. So this way it gets created for this text gets added to the text strings that we have merged. Again, we can go select this, go to the right, extreme right, left, lower part of this cell, and then use the flash fill to do it for the all the parts. So now this way we have a different part number for each of the row, but this text that we have added, this is the standard text, so this is same for all the rows. So this is what how the concat works. Now coming up is text join and the conditional joining. So if you are enjoying this video, then don't hesitate to like, comment, and share this video. Now we move to the next function, that is text join. So in the text join function, it actually caters to all the limitations that were there for concatenate and concat function. Let's see how it works. So when we press equal to here, then use the formula text join and start the parenthesis. So this is the syntax for text join. The first thing it asks for is delimiter. So in our case, as we are joining the names, so let's say if we want space as the delimiter. So here we just need to specify it once that we need space as the delimiter and don't need to give the space between each argument. So next argument it is asking for is ignore empty. So true if you want to ignore the empty cells, false if you don't want to include empty cells. Sorry, if you want to include the empty cells. So in this case, what does that mean? If the strings that you are joining, if there is one blank in between, so if you want to ignore that, and in that case, it will just join those strings where they have a value and ignore the space in between. And if you want, you can include that, then there will be extra space between those two strings. Okay, so in this case, let me just select ignore, sorry, and then go back to the formula. Then next is text 1, text 2, and text 3. So in this case, again, let's see, we want to have the full name here with delimiter. So I'll just give it as a range. So A, B, and C columns I've selected. And then I close the parentheses here, press enter, and see. Now I didn't have to give this delimiter as a space between each argument. And there the space is automatically there between Mr. and Barry and more. So this way text joins the text and gives the delimiter that we have provided between all the strings that we want to add. Now let's say if you want to add a prefix or a suffix. This time we have been adding suffix. Let's add a prefix. So let's see how that is done in text join. So again, this formula text join, and then the delimiter. Again, we'll give the space as the delimiter here. And then this time also let me take it true because we want to ignore the empty cells. And then when it asks for the text, this time I'll just give, hello as the text that needs to be prefixed with the name. And then as the next argument, I'll give the name, the title and the first name as a range, and just close the parenthesis, press enter. So now this, you can see that the hello word is prefixed with the name here. So that way text join is actually catering to all the limitations that we had with the earlier functions. Now what you all must be waiting for, conditional joining. Let's see how conditional joining can be done through text join function. So for that, let's consider a scenario that we want to see all the employees who are living in New Jersey. So let's see how can we get this data. We'll use the text join function. And this time we need multiple names here. So in that case, we will not use the space. Let's use a comma as the delimiter. We move to the next. Now let's say we use true as of now. We just want to ignore the empty cells, comma, and now we want to get the data only for those names which the people who are living in New Jersey. How are we going to get that? So for that we use a if function here. If now the logical test. The logical test is the D column where we want to see value as New Jersey. So let's say equal to New Jersey. Let me change it to JCap crystal so that there should not be any issue with comparing the data. Then comma. What will happen if the value is true? Then in that case we want to display the first name. So let me select the whole column here. So then what will happen if it is false? Because false means those values where the location is not New Jersey. So we just want to uh, return a blank. So this blank would be now handled by the function true, because we with the true value in the second argument for text join, we are getting the blanks ignored. So let's close the parenthesis for if and then close the parenthesis for text join. But before pressing enter, we need to see that the if function that you know is not actually allowing us to use array, and this function becomes an array. So here if will be returning a range of values or the range of names where the location is New Jersey. So this becomes a text, this becomes an array function. So for array function, we just can't press enter to see the result. We need to press Control Shift and enter together. And if you see in the formula bar, there is a curly parenthesis added in starting and the end. So this means that this is an array formula. And whenever you want to make any changes to this function, you need to again use Control, Shift, and enter in place of just enter to get the result. Okay. So let's see now in this case, as the delimiter we used is just comma. So there is no space between these names, Michael, Frank, George, and Robert. So if we want, let's say, another space also along with comma, so we can just go into this formula and just in the delimiter, just add comma and a space. Also, in this case, now, again, if you want to see the result, then press Control Shift and enter. And see, now we have a space also. So now we just want to see how this true work, that the second argument for text join, because we are ignoring all the blanks here. So if we just change it to false, which means that we want to include the empty cells. So if we press again Control Shift Enter, so you can clearly see that we are getting commas in between. So these commas and space are for all the values which were not equal to New Jersey. So we can change this also. If you don't want New Jersey here, then let's say if we change to Maine and again Control Shift and Enter. So all the values where all the people who lives in Maine will get displayed here. So now this is how the conditional join will work with the text join and if function. Now we move to the limitation of these functions. First, concatenate. For concatenate, the first limitation is that the maximum length of the final string can't be more than 8192 characters. That's 8192 characters. And the maximum of 255 strings can be joined. The second limitation is that the function may not be available in the later versions of Excel because Excel is trying to sunset this concatenate formula. That's the reason in 2016, Excel 2016, they introduced concat and text join to replace this function. Then concat. This one is still not providing the argument to add delimiters, which we have seen as a limitation. Otherwise, it is just working like a concatenate. So hence the delimiter has to be manually added, what we have done. And maximum length of the final string can be more than 32,767 characters, and a maximum of only 253 strings can be joined. Then moving to the text join. For text join, the total number of text arguments can be 252, and the resulting string can be only up to 32,767 characters. That's 32,767. But that's also the limit of any cell of uh, the total number of characters that a cell can contain. That's the limit. So that way, anyway, we are not going up to that limit. We can't go beyond that. Even without the text join function, we can't go beyond 32,767. Now leave a comment and tell me what you feel about concat function. With the availability of text join, do you feel anybody still need concat function? If you're visiting this channel for the first time, subscribe to this channel and click the bell icon so that you can get the notification whenever a new video is posted. If you're interested in learning about conditional formatting, then the link of those videos will be available on your screen now. Bye, and I'll catch you later in the next video. Thank you.